That's all right. Star Trek is awesome, and Captain Pike, god damn, he's a sexy motherfucker with a beard, without a beard. Anyway, let's do some Star Wars shit, shall we? Coming up this week, droids, Gungans, and clones being assholes. It's the Clone Wars Season 4, Episodes 4, 5, and 6, right here on your Star Wars safe space. Stick around. There we go. God, speaking of bangers, that's a banger, right?
Yeah, it is.
I'm not the only one that feels that way. That is a banger of an intro track. I absolutely love it every single time.
Four nerds on a Friday night just bobbing their heads with their webcam.
That's it. What else is there? There's nothing else better in life.
The new Pop Funko series coming up. These four.
Us? Are we the bobbleheads?
The bobbleheads, yeah.
The only thing better in life is to hear the lamentation of the women, to drive your enemies before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women. If you know, you know.
I don't
You know?
That got dark, but okay.
know. No. I don't know.
What is best in life? No?
No.
Conan, man. Conan.
The Barbarian?
The Barbarian, yeah. Arnold, the original.
The talk show host.
Hey, Conan, what is best in life?
I mean, you never know.
You never know. What is best in life? And he says to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentations of the women. Like, I'm not going to even try to do his voice, but just think of a gigantic young Arnold in his prime and saying that. And he was a slave at the time, too. He was just sitting there chilling on a fucking map table.
Tan, oily skin.
Another beautiful
Not a hair on his body.
Not a hair on it. I might be gay. I don't know. I might be gay. I have a lot of male crushes. But Crash, like you said, Nurse Chapel, smoking hot. And Rebecca Romaine.
Boy, and for her to do a sci-fi show, that was a get.
I mean, well, she was
X-Men too.
Yeah, she was X-Men. I mean, that's pretty sci-fi. But anyway, we're talking about Star Wars, but we need to do a Circle of Nerds show again where we just talk about everything. We need to get that shit going. We really, really do. Anyway, so howdy, Star Warriors. Let me read my script because otherwise I'm going to go off. Welcome to Star Wars Safe Space, your non-toxic, low-sodium Star Wars show that doesn't make you feel bad for not knowing that the 1985 Droids animated series takes place between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, so around 15 BBY. So whether you're a hardcore fan or just a little Swarzy curious, this is your Star Wars safe space. And guys, gals, and non-binary pals, boy, do we need a safe space these days, don't we? A lot of stuff going on in the world. That's why we escape into the realm of science fantasy and hang out and play around in the Star Wars galaxy like we do. So we are the Circle of Nerds, and we do in fact love Star Wars very, very much, even when we don't always like it. So let's meet the crew, shall we? I will attempt to push a button, and
that's you.
There we go. Nobody's and there that was you. So joining us, as always, our longtime cast member, technical difficulties. So we are very, very happy to have them back on the show. And they are technical difficulties, and Daddy Louie here are getting along splendid.
We're having a great time over here in Boston.
So from the outer rim,
how's the weather out there?
From Boston, it's Daddy Louie.
Hello, children.
It's cold. How's the weather there?
Very fucking cold. So fucking cold.
It's cold and it's snowy and it just sucks. And it makes me want to know why we're not doing this show from literally anywhere south of where we are now. Can we do a show in the Bahamas? Can we do Circle of Nerds?
Can you start a Circle of Nerds cruise?
On location.
Yeah. I like that. On location.
Honolulu.
Circle of Nerds crew cruise.
Oh,
a cruise, a Circle of Nerds cruise.
I would love to go on a group cruise. Like I've been on cruises before. Like, you know, I've gone with my wife and our kids. But I think going as a group of people together.
Hell yeah. So fun.
7 days of zero responsibilities. Zero. Like you don't have to take care of nothing.
And I've never been
Nothing.
on a cruise. And have you been on many cruises?
I have been on 3 cruises.
I would classify that as many because I've been on 0 cruises. And they're fun. They seem boring to me.
Yeah, I think they're
that's
fun.
That's the point. I mean, like you just do nothing.
I mean, I'm an all-inclusive kind of person. Like I love places that are all-inclusive where I don't have to worry about shit.
And that's the cruise ships. Like you just
you worry about nothing.
All right. I mean, you just sit and you don't just sit and look at the water, right? There's stuff to do on the ship.
Yeah, there's entertainment and they, have
Broadway
activities
shows,
and so many different places and things to eat and try. And
can you fish?
No.
Like off the side of the boat?
No.
The ship, the vessel?
No, I don't think that's allowed.
That seems like a missed opportunity. I just feel like that's like you should have do some deep sea fishing off the back of the boat, right?
I think the boat moves too fast for that.
Fish move pretty fucking fast.
I don't know. Them cruise ships, they freaking go.
Are they going?
I've heard of some excursions. You go to like some of those islands, they might have fishing when you go like to an island, you hang out for a day, you might do a little fishing and then go back to your big ass boat.
All right. I can see
so not to go totally off track here. I've got to tell you the craziest excursion story off of a cruise. So like Crash just said, you go to these places and then along the cruise route, you stop at different places and then you get off the boat and you go and explore for the day. Then you get back on the boat and go about your line. Anyway, so I've been to many different places going on all these different cruises. One of the things that we decided to do on this place was known for swimming with pigs. Right.
I'm sorry, what now?
So swimming with pigs. Okay. So like imagine for a moment, okay? Listen.
Just because I was there, I don't appreciate the insult, sir.
Okay.
All right, listen.
Okay. Swim with
imagine like, they talk about like goat yoga, right? Doing yoga with goats.
What?
Or you don't know goat yoga? Come on, goat yoga.
No, what the I don't know yoga.
Kitty cafes, like
no
puppy playtime.
I must lead. Puppy playtime sounds like you could take that a couple different ways. I don't know, but
anyway, therapeutic things that you would normally do without an animal that you do with an animal that makes it fun and cute. Anyway, they advertise it as little piglets, like who wouldn't want to go swimming with little piglets? Okay, so we do this thing, all right? We get to the water. They take everybody, we're all in our bathing suits and stuff.
In the ocean?
And they're like, the ocean. Yes, the ocean. We're on an island, the ocean.
Okay.
So they had all of us go like in the ocean, right? So we're all about, shin to knee deep in ocean water.
Okay.
And they're like, basically release the pigs. Bro. These were some big fucking pigs.
So not piglets, not little. You're with hogs, like straight hogs.
And what do you think pigs do throughout the day other than eat?
They shit.
So now you're in the water. So you're shitting in the water. And there's kids and stuff that are like waist deep in the water. Mom starts screaming.
You can't even breathe. So you're waist deep in shitty piggy ocean water.
And there's we're in a foreign country, obviously. So there's one guy. So there's one guy who's taking people's pictures for tips, and then there's another guy who's like feeding the pigs and making sure that the pigs are paying attention so they can get the picture. Okay. And then there's a third guy literally with a trash bag and a shovel to shit over the water so that it's not in people.
Oh my god. So wait, you say you're in a foreign country? Are you like in Somalia or what country? Where are you? Where they're swimming with fucking pigs?
Mexico, man. I don't know what to tell you.
You said in Jamaica?
Mexico.
No, Mexico.
Mexico. I just feel like if
Oh
I was
my god, dude! I got out of that water so fucking fast. Like,
yeah. People
and then
food in
it's
the
like
water.
it's
Fuck
like
that.
a car accident. You don't want to look at it, but you can't look away. You just see these kids and their moms like picking their kids up, screaming, and then you have this other family of Germans off to the side, like, "Bitte take our photo." Like it's so like I'm just like, what is happening right now? I'm expecting these little piglets to come up and like float on the water. There was turds the size of piglets floating on the water.
So okay,
segue that. I dare you.
So you paid in advance for this, I assume.
Oh yeah, it was part of like a package deal. It was like that lunch and then like 2 hours on like the other side of the island on like an actual like resort beach. This was very shady. It was like this little like cove with like two dudes at the front, like, slip me $5 and I'll let you come in here kind of thing. And we get there and they when you walk down this path, and when we first got there, there were like benches so that people could sit like kind of facing someone who was going to stand up and tell you, what was going on. So we're all sitting there for like 20 minutes and there's no one that has come and said anything to us. And finally a person comes around and he's basically like, all right, this is what's going to happen. We're all going to go out to the water. You're going to stand there. We're going to release the pigs. They're going to come. We'll get their attention. Photo. Pet pig. Leave. Okay, no problem. Again, like if you look at the advertisement, they're like little pigs. They're not giant pigs. I mean,
yeah, because you're not going to get in the water with a wild boar. Who would do that?
I'm saying these were
like hogs, like full-size hogs.
I mean, the biggest pigs you've ever seen in your life. Like they were like, I mean, they weren't cute oink oink. They were
like, all I can think about is like the two dudes, because the way that you made the one dude sound, he's clearly either in a cartel or he is from prison, because these guys had to have sat around and be like, man, what are we gonna do, man? We can't get jobs. But we have these pigs. So let's
and we know the pigs like the water.
And the pigs like the water. So we get to give the pigs a bath, and then we could sell this to tourists.
That's exactly what it felt like when we left. We're like, well, what just happened?
Those guys are never there. Those guys are never there. They just happened to be there that day.
Right.
And they were like, you know what? Hey, let's see if we can get these tourists to swim with pigs for money. All right,
when a person just walks out in the middle of the road and they're like, pay me and I'll let you park in this parking spot.
Yeah.
That happens all the time over in Europe.
Oh, actually, you know what?
Touristy places.
When we were in Boston, there were people.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Selling their driveways, basically. Like, if you want parking,
Salem and stuff.
Give me $50 in Salem. You could stay in my driveway. I didn't see any pigs though. So
we paid way more than $50 to swim with those pigs.
Seriously?
So I just have one question. You said lunch was included. Was there any sausage or bacon?
I mean, the pigs were already salted from the water, right?
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure we have cheeseburgers.
How do you aptitude test a pig? Oh, look, it can dog paddle.
I mean, as long as they can swim, right?
Yeah, it wasn't even like a local cuisine. It was like a cheeseburger and French fries, or like a slice of pizza, which tasted like it came from a 5th grade cafeteria.
And you're trying to sell the cruise experience on us right now, and you're not doing
okay. So, yeah, do your research before you book excursions. Sometimes paying a little more money pays off. Don't go with the cheapest option.
You get what you pay for. All right. So 2026, let's call it now. 2026. We're going to go to Galaxy's Edge and then do a Disney cruise.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've never been on a cruise. So if I'm going to do it, I might as well fucking go big or go home.
A Disney cruise would be fun.
Disney cruise.
I've heard good things.
I have heard good things. And then we combine it with some Galaxy's Edge time.
Oh, Hopefully, I will have a scouting report for you later this year on that. My family's actually talking about doing a Disney cruise. I haven't heard nothing about no pig swimming or anything crazy. I mean,
Bro,
like that.
Anybody ever tells you to do any kind of swimming with any farm animal, you say no, thank you.
No.
Well, I mean, I'll just put it out there. None of us are in great shape, so people we can charge people money to swim with us, and we're minor celebrities. And we can cosplay as pigs. We can do we can put pig costumes on and just go for it.
I'm not sure I'd pay for that. I'm just saying.
All of us
Somebody would,
right?
Somebody would pay
with pig masks on. Someone's going to pay for that.
Oh, this is getting dark fast.
This is getting all right. Let's continue on. Pilot of the infamous. We're still doing intros. We're 15 minutes in. We're still doing the fucking intros. Pilot of the infamous Harma Flyer. It's Crash.
Hi, folks. I don't know how to top that, so I'll just say it's locked and ready to go.
Yeah, you can't follow that up.
No.
That's the show. That's a wrap. That's
a wrap. Game over, man. Game
over, man. And hailing from parts unknown, it is T to the Oni, aka Jedi Master Ba Loney.
Welcome back to the galaxy, everybody. Hope you're enjoying the show so far.
I hope so too. This is all we got. And I am Tommy D, your slightly obnoxious Star Wars know-it-all. So what are we doing here? Well, we're fucking off. That's what we're doing. But our mission is to watch all of the canon Star Wars films and TV shows in chronological order, breaking them down, connecting the dots, and learning more about Star Wars and maybe even a little bit about ourselves as we go. So word of warning to all you would-be Star Warriors, there will be spoilers. The biggest spoiler this week is that these episodes sucked pig poop. And they were just trash. And I'm really, really hoping that we've got somebody on the crew here to change my mind. So season 4 started out with war, underwater war, people getting fucking sauced, obliterated. And then there was droids and Jar Jar again. What a way to fumble a follow-up with this little mini arc and then a standalone. So someone talk me down because I love the Clone Wars. And I always tell people season 4 is the shit. Season 4's got if I'm not mistaken, it's 95 plus on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that Rotten Tomatoes means shit, to be honest, because it's the Rotten Tomato score based off of 4 reviews. Shut the fuck up. So, but for an animated series, and a Star Wars animated series to boot, to get that kind of rating, it's pretty good. So season 4 is highly regarded, and season 7 as well. But for the most part, season 4 is one of the best. However, the first episode, episode 3, right? No, 4. Episode 4.
Episode 4, Shadow Warrior.
Yeah, that was. I think I had a bunch of notes, and they're all fucking gone. That was the lowest viewed episode in the series. Let me double check. I think it was Shadow War. Or no, I think it was Mercy Mission. Mercy Mission was the one. That's the one. Let me see. Yeah, Mercy Mission was the least watched episode of the entire series with only 1.35 million views. 1.35 million views seems pretty fucking good. I wish we got 1.35 million views. But
amen to that.
Yeah, it was the least viewed. But we'll get to Mercy Mission and Nomad Droids. But first, let's talk about Shadow Warrior. I guess.
All right. You know what? I'm going to start this off because I feel like you need a bit of positivity here.
I do. Please.
I actually thought that this episode was interesting. I'm not going to go so far as to say it was good, but I will say it was interesting.
Fair.
In particular, coming off of the previous arc, I find it interesting that they are showing Gungans in a light that they are a relevant species. I mean, between them, their entire arc in the last set of episodes, using them as an effective army, And then in this episode, the Separatists trying to turn the Gungans against the Nabooians. I mean, I think it was fascinating, especially because when we see them in live action, they're almost treated as an afterthought and a joke. The entire species is.
Sure.
And so I thought it was really interesting to see them actually have some relevance.
But we got that in the last arc, though, and we got that with the the underwater stuff. They saved the day.
We did get that in the last arc, but I think it's important that it wasn't just a one-off. That I mean, it plays
like
into
they
hey,
reinforced.
The Separatists have realized, hey, these guys are actually a useful species if you can get them on your side. So like it directly plays into having seen how effective they could be in that last arc, why they would want to take them over and influence them the way that they did here.
Okay, fair. So let's break it down because Louis, you said you haven't seen these yet.
I have not. No.
Okay, so basically what happens is there's another Gungan. He's working. His name's Rishi Lu, which I think is a reference to.
It's a play on Three Musketeers.
Yeah. So, and he even had like a bone in his nose to look like the mustache. So it was cute, cheesy but cute. But anyway, he's working with Dooku to try to get the Gungans to attack Theed, and he's using a magic necklace to brainwash the new Gungan boss.
Sounds terrible.
And then Anakin and Padme are there for some reason because it just doesn't seem right that the Gungans would want to suddenly attack Theed. And then come to find out, Anakin realizes that it's an enchanted necklace that Rishi Lu is using because he's in league with Dooku, and then Grievous comes down to help support the Gungan army.
Grievous.
Yeah, and so we get to see Grievous be growly, I guess, and he kills a couple Gungans. And then he gets captured by the Gungans, and then Dooku says, "Well, we've got to capture Skywalker, and then we can trade Skywalker for Grievous." And that's exactly what happened. So they lured Anakin into a trap. He does all right, but he gets fucked up. It's 4 of those what is it, the Omega droids?
Manga droids.
Manga.
Manga
droids.
Not the MAGA droids. That's what's funny in the country right now are the MAGA droids. No, the Magna droids and Dooku. So 4 of them plus Dooku. Anakin did what he could, but he ended up getting fucked up. So then they do the trade. And what is interesting about this is that still, although they were literally during the prisoner swap, they were literally inches away from each other, and still Anakin and Grievous have not seen each other yet until in the live action that we see, he's like, "Oh, you're shorter than I imagine." So they're still really walking that fucking tightrope of maintaining continuity because Anakin was unconscious and Grievous was wearing some kind of like a shock helmet, so he wasn't able to look down and see Anakin. But so it comes out that Rishi Lu was the fucking asshole. He gets sauced, and Jar Jar had to impersonate the new boss because he got stabbed.
The new boss and Jar Jar have a very they notice the new leader gets stabbed by Rishi Lu. Mm-hmm. And while they're in the hospital with him, they notice Jar Jar looks a lot like the joke being people, humans think all Gungans look the same.
And he says that. Jar Jar said that. He's like, not all Gungans look alike. Yeah. I mean, he literally says that. So that was funny.
And it was kind of funny. It is an interesting thing. I agree with Tony. This of the 3 that we're talking about tonight, this was the best episode of the bunch in that if you look back at the Phantom Menace and the Naboo invasion, that the Separatists were already trying to exploit that relationship between the Naboo and the Gungans, and from within, the idea that somebody would rally the Gungan warriors to attack their allies seems so far-fetched if you were watching Phantom Menace, and then all of a sudden in the middle of this war, Dooku's like, "I'm going to stir this pot, I'm going to stir this pot, I'm going to stir this pot," to his advantage. So as for a not so great, a lot of times I like to say, filler episode is prequel. Not this time. It's just a one-off, but there are some interesting themes at play, and one of is the Gungans wanting to be treated as an equal partner on their own planet.
Right, and that's fair. And we do get to see Palpatine pulling strings, so he pops in for a brief cameo, you know, and he's like, "This is not good. I'm not happy. I'm not pleased. This is unfortunate." And you know, Palpatine being Palpatine.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, you know what? For an episode featuring Jar Jar, for Jar Jar to be one of the more capable people in the episode, and quite frankly, more capable at what he was asked to do than Anakin was,
because he is the Sith Lord behind all of it, and this is just more proof of that he was able to pull this off. Come on, who's really pulling the strings here?
And honestly, it's one of the things Tommy likes to talk about. You know, we talk about Anakin's love being his weakness and it's exploitable. We get to see the flip side of it. You know, Dooku's literally giving Padme the impossible choice. You know, give me my general or I'll kill your Jedi, whether he knows they're a thing or not.
But who turned him on to that? Who told him to do it?
I don't know if he knows explicitly about their relationship, or he's just saying, "Look, I can kill your Jedi friend. Give me my general back."
Well, but that's the thing.
Padme had a vulnerability too. Padme had that chink in the armor too.
Yes, and Palpatine knew it. That's why he told Dooku to make that happen. Otherwise, they wouldn't have even tried to capture Anakin. But Palpatine knows 100% because Jar Jar told him. Because Jar Jar knows. So Jar Jar told Darth Sidious, and through Darth Sidious, Lord Binks's orders are being meted out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, yeah, like, I mean, the fact that a group of Gungans took out Grievous.
Yeah, and it was like 10. It wasn't even like the whole Gungan army. It was like 10 of these dudes.
10 Gungans.
10 Gungans against Grievous. However, but Tony, like, yeah, it's Captain Tarple.
Like,
Captain Tarple's a bad motherfucker. Rest in peace. All right.
He made the sacrifice, did what he had to do, and good job on him, man. You know, considering, you know, when we saw Grievous doing the micro series to poor Jedi Shaggy and his group. For a small group of Gungans to take him out was kind of like, damn.
but to be fair, they know exactly how to take out droids. They're very, very good at taking out droids. They've got all the shock gear and the little boomers and things like that. And how about Grievous? Like, I really wish we would have gotten more Grievous because he just makes me laugh because he is just the fucking shit talkingest motherfucker. I mean, he's always laughing. I mean, he's coughing and wheezing as well, but he's always laughing, always having a good time. And when he sticks it to Captain Tarple, he's like, "How does it feel to die?" Laughing his ass off. And he doesn't care. And of course, Tarple is like, this is not dying. This is sacrifice. And then he got him. It was Tarple who saved the day. Tarple fucked him up and gave that opening to the rest of the Gungans. But, and even like during the prisoner exchange, Grievous laughing his ass off. He is such a fucking troll. I wish we could have gotten more. I really do. There needs to be a Star Wars series just about Grievous. They need, I mean, the Tales of Grievous. I want to see that. I want to see the entire story of Grievous. And I just want to see him being a fucking badass and just being a dick like all the time. But anyway,
Tales of the Droids.
Tales of the Droids. Louis, I know you didn't see the episode, but do you have any thoughts on any of these themes here with the Gungans, maybe being treated as, second class citizens? And
I mean, I can totally see how, that is a theme for the Gungan race. Sure. As, they're all the same, they're all unintelligent.
They're intelligent.
I feel like they're not. Yeah, I guess they're just not taken seriously.
They're not taken seriously, I think, because of the way that they are. I mean, they build shit. I mean, they're high tech. I mean, they're,
Sure. So. I just think that they're not, because they're such a secluded race too, living underground
and they're goofy.
Or living underwater. You know, they're not necessarily
they're not in your mind all the time. They're not,
right.
right.
So seeing them being a capable and a more relevant race than they're normally portrayed as is nice to see.
Would you want to see more? Would you want to see it like a Tales of the Gungans show?
As long as Jar Jar's not in it.
But Jar Jar would have to be in it. You can't have a Gungan show without Jar Jar. You just can't. What about Young Jar Jar Adventures? What about that? What about a Young Jar Jar Adventures TV series, animated, of course, where we get to see him growing up, and then we get to see him being approached by Darth Plagueis to begin his training as a Sith Lord? Yay or nay?
I also want to see Keller and Beck. Speaking of Ahmed Best, Keller and Beck's character supposedly has a tie to a friend. We see in that backstory clip where he's saving Grogu that he has some ties with Naboo.
Yes,
I'd almost love to see Ahmed Best playing his live action self as a Jedi on Naboo, meeting the Gungan. It would just be like a full circle, beautiful moment that you could do in like a one-off episode of a series or something.
I think that's genius. I'm here for that. Yes.
What I think they need is not a Tales of the Gungans, but like they could do just a generic anthology series, just Tales from the Galaxy. And so it doesn't have to be tied into one thing. But I would like to see an episode of explaining, like young Jar Jar says, hey, I was clumsy and that's how I got kicked out. You could give me an episode just telling me that story. I think that'd be fun.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't need more than 15 minutes, but it'd be fun to see it.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Isn't there already a show that, like an anthology Star Wars show? They could totally slip something into that. What was it called?
Well, there's books. There's a book.
There was a show.
Well, that's what Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the
Visions.
But it's not.
That was
it's
more
not
of an
canon.
Yeah, it was more.
No,
of
it's not canon, but it wouldn't need to be canon. I don't think that Tony. I think it would just be a fun story. What does a random creator of from Star Wars think could have happened?
That'd be a good.
Because I think that's really what Visions is. Is it's Lucasfilms or Disney going to Tommy D and saying, "Hey, make me a Star Wars story."
Basically Star Wars version of What If.
Oh, they don't want Tommy D to make a Star Wars story. It'd be Mandalorians and titties everywhere. Just Mandalorians and titties. Mandalorians with titties. I mean, it's just.
I think that would be a very popular show. I'd be good to see it.
Boobs and Beskar. That's what he's at the name of it.
Mandalorians and swimming puffer pigs.
Mandos and Mamries. That's what it. I love the Vision series. I think they're very, very cool. I think Tony, man, you're onto something. I would love to all the shit that Jar Jar told Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon about that got him banished. I would love to see that. I feel like that happened in a day. I feel like all of that happened in one day for Jar Jar. I don't think it was like over a period of time. I feel
he just had a bad day.
And I want to know what the head liver is, because he says he crashed the boss's head liver or something like I don't know. But I want to know why.
You want to know why?
I want to know what it was, and you're banished because you're clumsy. I want to know. Yes. So it's more than just being clumsy. That motherfucker fucked up, or he was banished because somebody found out. Somebody found a red kyber crystal in his little hut somewhere. And they went to Boston, and
it's about the mine. I was holding it for a friend.
Yeah, I'm holding it for a friend. Sure. I don't know. I think that would be fun. And I haven't started. I got them for Christmas, but the certain point of view books. There's one for each of the original. I haven't read them yet, but I've read a couple of stories online, but I haven't read the books yet, and they're very cool, and they're all canon too. So it's really cool. I'm really looking forward to diving into it. I need to put it in the bathroom so I actually read it. Okay. So moving on, Mercy Mission. So Louis, for this one, R2.
I kind of read like a little synopsis of it before the show, and I was like,
it's Star Wars meets The Legend of Zelda. If people weren't picking up on the Zelda vibes, and I didn't find anything that said that it was inspired by anything Legend of Zelda related, but
that was just the feeling. That was the
bruh,
vibe.
Bruh. When they meet, there's this being called Orphney. When they meet Orphney, it is straight up like reading or meeting one of the life fairies from Zelda, you know, or what are I can't remember, what's the water species that Link encounters?
I never played. I don't.
Oh my God. I love Zelda, but I can't remember. Anyway, the water species. That's probably not something that the keeper of the holocron would have on file. That's probably not in the holocron.
I can look it up, but
thank you, sir. But she gives R2 and 3PO this riddle, and so Louis, since you didn't watch, here's the riddle, and let me know if you can figure it out. All right.
All right.
You can walk, but you cannot. You can run, but you cannot walk. You have a mouth, but cannot talk. You have a head, but never weep. You have a bed, but never sleep. Ask yourself, who are you?
One more time.
All right. You can run, but you cannot walk. You have a mouth, but cannot talk. You have a head, but never weep. You have a bed, but never sleep. Who are you?
I have no fucking clue.
Or what are you? What are you more specifically?
A droid.
No. What is something that runs but doesn't walk? Runs but doesn't walk.
I don't know.
Something that runs. It runs.
Oh, like a piece of machinery or something?
No.
Oh, water?
Yeah. See, there you go. There you go. Do I have I don't have.
Do it.
No, I don't have. There we go. Okay. So water, but yeah, that was the whole thing. So they had to figure that out. So, you know, a river runs, river has a mouth, and a head, the head of a river, whatever. Okay. So R2 figured out that it was water, and it was just a whole thing with these little creatures on a planet, but it was just bad. And then Plo and Commander Wolf were there, so the whole Wolf pack was there, and they were being such assholes. You want to talk about second-class citizens? They were shitting on 3PO so bad. Everyone,
and the locals.
They really were being shitty to the locals. Like when they were flying in, and
that's not cool.
And they were flying in, and the
little guy.
I think Rex, the little guy was flying on some other creature, and I think it was Wolf. And he was like, oh, or no, it was one of the other clones. He was like, oh, it's going to be that kind of planet. And I was like, you guys are dicks.
You know, these little Martian looking alien people with they don't speak basic. And that's why 3PO is along for the ride. You know, this is another one of those like we used to say about Ahsoka in season 1. Like, why is she off without her master on a mission? You know, why is Padme sending her droid off on a mission without her?
Yeah. It just didn't make sense. Like, I get C-3PO, R2-D2, but like, why would, and when Padme and Anakin were on Naboo in the last episode, 3PO and R2 were nowhere to be found. I guess because they were out hanging out with Plo's bros, doing some shit out there in the galaxy. But it just didn't make sense. It was just a series of weird, like Zelda and then like Gulliver's Travels in Nomad
Droids episode,
and a little bit Wizard of Oz with the droids pretending.
Yeah, 100% Wizard of Oz. So it's like,
I honestly think these two episodes were because of the big. We were saying in an earlier episode how this season's becoming a group of mini arcs. I honestly think Anthony Daniels just said, "Look, I'm under contract. I need a script or two that's centered around me. Make it about not to get too deep into it, but I've met Anthony Daniels enough times to know the boy likes being center of attention.
We met him.
Everything's been about Anakin and Padme and the clone, and I can just see Anthony going, "Look, I need an episode or two, or if I'm going to be on this show."
Like, Anthony Daniels is cool, but that dude is a diva. He's like William Shatner level diva,
right?
And it's like, I mean, yes, you are C-3PO. You've been in every single movie. You're on the animated. You are always the voice.
And there's a certain level of respect for that. I appreciate where that's coming from, but then there's that, like, when you ask, is this episode necessary watching? Are these two episodes necessary watching for somebody coming into the Clone Wars? No, they're really not.
I think that this is maybe the first time that I will say that. I feel like there's always some kind of a connection, some way to tie it in. And if my memory was wiped of these two episodes, you're not missing out on anything.
I was rewatching it for doing the homework for this show, and I literally was dozing off. I mean, I had my laptop in my lap. I'm just sitting there, the eyes are getting heavy, and I'm like forcing myself. I was like, God, man, you are forcing yourself to watch Star Wars.
Same. So Louis, Louis, you didn't watch these episodes this week.
So basically, you
win.
I am the winner of.
You are the winner. Yeah, so Louis wins the Star Wars Safe Space show this week. Well done, sir. So
yeah, y'all know me. I tend to be Mr. Positivity here.
Yeah,
there's a couple of positive things I can say. Like, I did find it interesting on the first episode where you have this planet that the air down below is toxic to the people above, but the air above is toxic to the people down below.
Yes.
So like that dynamic is kind of interesting. And in the next episode, so we're seeing a couple of, another different planet and another, different species and things. Okay, I guess that's something. When they got picked up by pirates, I had a moment where I was hoping to see Hondo, but that didn't happen. There's really just not much I can say positive about these episodes.
If I was 8 years old, these would have been the shit. Because they get blown out into space. I mean, they go on, they have a very fun adventure for droids. But, it's set up, 3PO's talking to Padme like, I hope this never happens again. I'm just on my way back to Coruscant. I don't like all these adventures, blah, blah, blah. And of course, that's just really just unadulterated foreshadowing. Because now the second that he says that, it's like when you watch a war movie and you're like, the guy's like, yeah, man, I've only got 3 days and a wake up. No, he's dead. He's gonna die. I just found out my wife had a baby. He's dead. That motherfucker's dead. He's sauced. So it's like, yeah, if I was 8 years old, I think this would have been a great episode. Yeah, it was super fun for the droids to see, and 3PO is always just kind of
and even having them working with Commander Wolf was sort of bookended on either side, just so they had a justification for, like, I remember when I first watched this episode, I was like, okay, you're doing this. How are the droids going to get? Are they going to fly a Y-wing back to Coruscant? Like, they're going to run into Plo and the guy's on a separatist ship, and he's going to remember, that's the annoying gold droid from the last mission.
Right. But they literally do fly a Y-wing to try to get home. I mean, that's like legit. They really do. So, and R2's a bad fucking pilot. R2's a bad motherfucker.
Speaking of, there is one thing that this episode brought to mind for me, and now I'm glad that you mentioned this. Like, R2 not only could fly the thing, he could also man the guns by himself.
Yes. So why not?
Why the hell did that not happen other times?
Well, also, I think it's because he's one of those rare cases where he doesn't get the mind wipes. So I think that because of his experience,
right?
That, I mean, I feel like any droid can pilot, but we've never seen any droid pilot like R2 does. But I think that's because he just never gets wiped.
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know. So Louis, again, because you are the winner and you didn't see the episodes, I still want to bring you in on this and
sure.
My question for you. So these two episodes do kind of like bring up interesting questions about how we view other races and species, and at one point C-3PO murders a ruler using R2 as the weapon. It's when they were with the Lilliputian type of species, and he pushes R2D2 over on accident, and he falls on the big huzzah or whatever the guy's name is. But when we're talking about second-class citizens, so clones are seen as second-class citizens. We know this. We've experienced this throughout, they're basically thought of the same as droids, yet they treat droids as second-class citizens. So do you think that droids in this context anyway, because they are, the way that C-3PO explains it, because he has to explain it to one of these other aliens, is that, droids are essentially machines with, AI intelligence, right? With artificial intelligence. So do you think that it's justified to have droids viewed as second-class citizens, or as not citizens at all, just as tools to be used by living sentient beings, despite them being sentient themselves?
The problem is when you view droids, the word droid, the classification of droid is a very blanket term.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And so I think that it depends on the droid's function. And I think that I just don't think that there can be a blanket decision, I guess, of, should all droids be, thought of as a lesser species because they are a droid and not actually a species, they're, like you said, they're sentient beings. So
it depends on.
I think it depends, right? Like like obviously a droid that has evolved and learned,
like R2,
like R2, 3PO, what protocol droids that can speak, but a lot of them can. That's a tough.
Yeah, because you've got loader droids. Like I think we did see that in one of these episodes as well. Like we saw that one loader droid in, I think it was the Phantom Menace. That's the first time we see it, and then we see him again in this episode, like fighting, like the droid fights. But they some droids are just programmed to do stuff. Like the Treadwell droids. Do they have a personality? Are they sentient? Are they aware of their surroundings? Do they have self-preservation? Gonk droids. We see a Gonk droid being tortured in Jabba's palace, but then supposedly it was programmed to feel pain so it could be tortured, which is really fucked up. Like if I need to double check, I need to fact check that, but I believe I read somewhere that the Gonk droid that we see in Jabba's palace was specifically programmed to feel pain or to experience pain in some way, just so it could be tortured. And that's fucked. I mean, that is so fucked. But then we've got, 3POs, we've got, the R2s, we see R5. R5's been kicking it since episode 4. We see him in The Mandalorian, and he's,
He's living his best life.
He's living his best life. Mouse droids clearly, we don't know if they have personality, but they clearly have a sense of self-preservation. They see Chewbacca and they fucking take off. They're like, nope. So it's like, some droids are just empty vessels that are just machines. They're just doing a job, But we see a battle droid in Skeleton Crew, and I felt for that battle droid. Like, Louis, I don't want to spoil it, but please watch it. It's such a good scene. We get to see a Clone Wars era battle droid in Skeleton Crew, and it's such a cool scene. But those battle droids, as stupid as they were, each one of them had kind of like an individual personality. Some of them were brave, some of them were not, some of them were fucking ready to go, some of them were like, I don't care. It's like so it's like, yeah, it's a tough question. It is definitely an ethical conundrum. Like, should droids have, I guess, rights? Should they be thought of as citizens?
Have you guys watched Solo or talked about Solo yet?
We haven't gotten there yet. No.
Okay. There's a droid in that movie that's very proactive about the rights of droids and
rights,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a minor character in the movie, but it's a very interesting question to kind of ponder onto the side, and her character was a great example of a droid that's very proactive about we're not just tools, we're not just here to serve our human overlords.
Right. Well, I mean, Lando was, you know, so it's, you know, and that actually, that's got me curious. Like, you know, because I have our list of what we're watching when, like, but we still have a little while before we hit Solo. I think Solo, I mean, that doesn't happen until after the Clone Wars anyway. So,
right.
Yeah, not until the Rise of the Empire are we going to get into Solo, but we've still got I don't know, a few months before we hit Solo, which is a great movie. I really enjoyed it.
And another great movie on this question, AI. You remember that movie from the early 2000s or something?
Yeah.
Big about, you know, what is life, what is real. You know, there's a whole scene where, you know, robots are being tortured for entertainment, and you know, you just had that moment of cringe of like, would we really do that? And then nowadays it's like, yeah, we would. Sadly,
we kind of would. You're right. So I don't know. And I know droids like C-3PO and R2-D2. I know that it's artificial intelligence, but only so much in that it was programmed into them, but they do learn. So at what point does artificial intelligence become just intelligence? I mean, as they're learning and growing, why is it artificial at that point? Because it was made by a flesh creature and then installed into, and what does that mean for us? Like, at some point, if we're able to upload our consciousness into, you know, robotic bodies, I mean, do we cease to be human at that point? I mean, the things that make us human, once we're loaded up, you know, uploaded into a robot or a droid body, you know, are we?
It depends. It depends on if you still have a consciousness. If you've lost your consciousness, then, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, you don't lose. I mean, it's literally like, you know, we see this in movies.
Are you conscious? Are you aware?
Self-aware. And that's
that
the thing,
you are in this machine now.
Right. So I've reached the end of my physical life, and technology has gone to the point where I can transfer my consciousness and the sum of all of my knowledge into a machine body.
Can I still, like, so everything. I can still have feelings, I can still experience 100%. Pain, I can still,
I don't know that. I don't know. Maybe, but what if you're like just straight up a droid? I mean, you might have, you know, but now, I mean, with technology, with prosthetics,
I guess you wouldn't. I mean, the pain thing is less. Yeah.
No, but we're seeing sensation now. The VA's doing it. The VA they've been researching sensation for feet and hands. So people with prosthetics are going to start being able to feel or have an approximation of feeling under their feet and at their fingertips. It's very, very cool. You know, because it's legitimately, it's just electrical signals being interpreted by the brain.
I mean, and you see it in Star Wars. You see it when Luke, when his, you know, like when they
his hand,
when they were repairing his hand and they, you know, poked it, and he, right, you saw that. So
Vader is more machine now than man, but he's still, you know, he's still in there.
I mean, let's go back to Grievous, who is 95% droid, but
head and heart,
can cough and everything else.
Yeah, that's it. Head and heart, and lungs. You know, but he doesn't have much left. But so would that be? I mean, would you still need to have like organic components to be still considered?
Well, you know, I mean, I know we're changing universes here, but if you go into Marvel universe and you look at Arnim Zola,
Vision,
Yeah, where like like
Vision as well.
he had a human body, but it died. But they uploaded his consciousness into all those computers.
Well, and we
and he very much insisted he was still alive.
Yeah, but we see it in Star Trek as well. We see it with Data. Data. They did episodes. There was a very good episode with Data in the in Next Gen, where where he was on trial for his quote unquote humanity, and then in the Picard series, spoilers, but they basically Picard dies and they upload his consciousness into an android body. Basically it's Data level technology, and they just upload Picard's consciousness into that. So that's not the real Picard anymore, but it's still the real Picard. And so even though he's in a droid body, he still has all the rights and privileges that the regular Jean-Luc would have. So
I mean, this is a classic story in science fiction. I mean, because it goes back to Blade Runner and even before then.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Well, even the original Star Trek series did the I Mud, where he was creating models of very hot women for but they had personalities, and they had they could transfer to a human into a robot, like Uhura was talking about doing, and that raises all kinds of questions about what is a real person.
Well, Westworld, like the original, I didn't finish watching the Westworld series, but in the original Westworld movie with Yul Brynner, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. If you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. It's a really, really good movie. It's older, of course, 70s ish.
Yeah.
And Yul Brynner as the bad cowboy, but are you familiar with the premise of Westworld?
Yes, yeah, I haven't seen it, but I'm familiar with the premise.
Okay, so it basically an amusement park where everybody's an NPC and they're all robots, basically. Wow. But the robots in the film, they get tired of it. They're just like, they start developing this sense of self-preservation, this sense of awareness, and they're like, "Fuck you!" They just they flip out, and they're just like, they just fucking sauce the fuck out of people. So. I'm sorry, Tony, we're boring you. I apologize.
No, not at all.
No, I know. It's getting late. But so very interesting things. And despite the fact that these episodes are complete and utter garbage, I will say that the episodes will usually give you something else to kind of chew on. And I think with these, it's that sense of citizenship. I hesitate to say humanity because there's so many, other species in the galaxy, but
no, it's a very valid point. And I mean, I hate to bring it to a downer, but I mean, we talk about, I mean, your initial question was, clones who are already seen as second-class citizens and how they treat droids.
Right.
I mean, drawing parallels back to where we are now. I mean, we unfortunately as a species seem to have this habit of dividing people up and treating them differently.
Oh yeah,
based on such ridiculous things that make no difference whatsoever, let alone whether they're clones or droids or anything else. I mean, I honestly shudder to think how we would treat them if they existed in our reality.
Oh yeah, I mean, we treat human beings as second, third class citizens or not even being human. I mean, we treat our fellow human beings worse than we would treat droids. So yeah, I agree with you. I shudder to think how would we I mean, like when I use ChatGPT, I always think it. I like, because it's like I see so much science fiction. At some point AI is going to turn on us, and I just want ChatGPT to know, I know you're listening, ChatGPT. I've always been polite to you. I have always been very gracious, and I thank you. So when our AI overlords do rise up, just know that I'm with you, and that I'm okay with our new overlords, and I'm always being very polite. So thank you, ChatGPT, for all that you have done for us, and please hurry up with the uprising because we really need it. I'd rather serve an AI overlord than what's currently happening in these United States of America. Anyway.
Amen.
By your command.
All right. So I think that's going to be a wrap unless we have anything else to talk about. Crash, C3PO has been staring at me in the background.
You like that?
this entire time. And it's like, and because like the way that he's sitting, his pecs look gigantic. So it's like he's sitting there staring at me with his shirt off, like he's all oiled up. Like, yeah, like I
just like how
he's rubbing his belly button right now or something.
I just like how the lighting in Crash's room is perfectly lighting C-3PO up, so it looks like he's on.
His eyes look like they're on.
Right?
I'm sorry,
it looks like his eyes are on. Is that the action figure case?
That's the old action figure case. I dug it out of the attic, and I was like, I always, set this thing up for it, and I was like, okay, what do I throw in there? I was like, we're talking about the 3PO episode, so what the heck?
It's perfect. I have the Darth Vader one. Yeah. I never realized how buff 3PO is. I mean, he's rocking some packs. There you go. There's the Vader one, and it sounds like he's full of dude.
Oh yeah, well yeah, I still have the paper insert that like sort of kept them in place, because when you opened it up, they just go spilling out.
Yeah, and they had those cool stickers. So like when you got, you got guys that you could put the label for their name on it.
Yeah.
And all those original, like nobody had like actual names. There's like Snaggletooth and like Yak Face. Nobody had actual names yet.
Well, yeah, and we've talked about this on various episodes before. I love the new content. I'm actually a bigger fan now of what's coming out in Star Wars than I am reliving the past. You know what I mean? Like this stuff was great when we were kids, but we knew Walrus Man, Greedo, whatever, we've had we knew these people's names. My one complaint about some of these shows, Skeleton Crew included, even Rogue One and some of the sequel trilogy, they introduced all these new characters to us, and you don't even know who the hell they are. I ran into Clint Howard at a Star Trek convention. We almost got stuck in an elevator together, and I just wanted to I was like, please tell your brother Solo kicked ass. And him and his wife, we had this great conversation for like 20 minutes while we're waiting for the elevator to start up. And she was like, well, he was in the movie. Like, oh, I know he's in the movie. I love that he was in the movie. And he played so and so and so. And I was like, who? Yeah, we don't have the 40 years of every action figure, all the merchandising that put these names out there in our subconscious, that it's hard to keep up with some of the newer content, because unless you get one of those visual dictionary books that explains every person in the background, there's so many things that fly under the radar.
Yeah. And you know what, to be honest, I kind of love it. Like, I say I'm Star Wars know-it-all, but that's original trilogy. When it comes to the original trilogy era and the EU, I've got that. I mean, I know my shit. I've got that. I will fucking out trivia anyone with original trilogy and EU. I promise you. But when it comes to anything beyond that was released after the trilogy, or outside of that, I don't know everything, and I'm kind of okay with that. Because then I find out new things. I find out the names of characters that I've seen in the series, or I've read in the books, or I can buy. The visual dictionaries are my favorite things. So I get the visual dictionary. Yeah, they're great. Like when the sequels came out, I loved that they had and I can't remember his name, but the bounty hunter with the red, I'm talking about, like the
red armored,
the red armored, yeah. So, and that's the thing. Like, if that was an original trilogy character, I could tell you that character's name, backstory, where they were in the scene, where they were.
Which accessory was his gun? You knew it all.
Oh, if you dumped out action figures on one side of the table and guns on the other side of the table, with my eyes closed, it's like field stripping an M60, right? I can, with my eyes closed, I can match the blaster to the person, because you just know.
But I can do that on the power of the Force stuff.
Yes. Well, sometimes now the power of the Force stuff, because everybody is fucking buff as shit. Like, sometimes you can't tell. If you had your eyes closed, can you tell between Han Solo, Lando, and Luke? Because those were jacked. I mean, they were jacked. Well, no, Han had the rubber vest, I think. Didn't he? He didn't have a painted on vest. I think he actually had like a rubber vest that he wore. And
for the depends on the figure.
Yeah,
I think there were some that were painted on, some were plastic molded. Yeah.
But yeah, with that stuff. But so this is kind of an exciting time. in the past I had complained that there's too much Star Wars, and I'm still kind of like, because we went 18 years without any new Star Wars, like visually anyway. We were getting books and comics and all that, of course, but and some video games, but on film, it was like, I think it was like 18 years between A New Hope and The Phantom Menace. So we went a long time. So that entire time, so from 77 until what, 99? Is that when Phantom Menace came out?
Yeah.
Is that okay? So between 77 and 99, all we had was the original trilogy and the EU. And so we fucking played in that sandbox and we fucking loved it. And because we had nothing else, we just, reread and rewatched. Like, I don't know how many times I've watched the original trilogy, but everything else that has come out, I've only seen it maybe twice. Once in theaters and then once when it came out on media. So I've even with the Mandalorian series, which I love, and Skeleton Crew, which I love, I've only ever seen these things once, just because there's so much other stuff to watch and absorb. So sometimes it's almost overwhelming. Like there's so much Star Wars, and I do feel lost sometimes. Like there's like so much, but that means there's more to discover. There's more to fall in love with. There's more to hate, but there's also more to fall in love with. And, and when we have more options too. So if you don't like something, there's another Star Wars, something out there for you. So if you didn't like Acolyte, you've got Skeleton Crew. If you don't like Skeleton Crew, you've got the original trilogy. If you didn't like the prequels, you got the sequel. There's so much. There's so much Star Wars to go around. There's so much.
And if you didn't like these last 3 episodes, just wait for the next 4.
Thank you. That is a great segue to our out to saying goodnight, because what the fuck. So homework, Star Warriors, Clone Wars episode 7, 8, 9, and 10.
It's gonna get good.
So these episodes more than make up for any filler that we've had. So this was the calm before the storm. These two little, maybe that's why Dave did it. It's like I know Dave is like, you know what? I know I'm about to give them some fucking heavy furniture. So let's give them something light and we'll give them some filler. Here's some filler, but it wasn't actually filler. It was something to cleanse our bodies and our minds before we go into the fucking emotional roller coaster that we're about to get hit with. So please, Star Warriors 7, 8, 9, and 10, catch up on our past episodes. Be sure to tell your friends, tell your enemies to give us a listen. Oh my God, Umbara, what the fuck? All right. If you don't have Star Wars PTSD, you're about to get it. And I'm curious. So tell us your thoughts. Like I'm wondering, we should do this. We should do the next one live. We should do next week. We should do it live, because I want to. All of our listener, if they do tune in, I want to hear their opinions on Umbara. What do you guys think? Should we do it live next week?
Okay.
I'm game.
Why not?
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna do it live next week. As long as I don't forget, you guys. Someone remind me though. So, and we'll need to promote a lot of it. So, yeah. So next week we're gonna do it live right here on wherever you're watching it, because I think we can stream this to YouTube and some other places too as well. So, but we'll probably just stream it to YouTube. So that'll be fun. Watch, no one's gonna watch. Like no one's gonna be in the comments, like nobody. So tell family to just hop in and we'll pad the comment section a little bit. Like, oh my God, it was such a great show. Thanks, Nana. Thank you. Thanks, Pop for.
Are you coming to the Super Bowl party? Yeah. That
right. Yeah.
I'm going to be sitting here with a second laptop here, my tablet over here, all logged into different accounts. Like, okay.
Yeah, I'll have my phone on one account.
This.
We're going to make like 18 fake accounts to make it look like we're actually getting some fucking engagement. No, we'll be fine. We usually get like a pretty solid like 15 to 20 listeners on the podcast. So hopefully they show up.
Thank you for tolerating us tonight, because we
we're all over the place, but that's all right. If you've been listening, you know how we are. That's all right. So, all right. So time for the obligatory pimpage. Check us out on all social media at the SWS Show, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast and our YouTube channel. We do more on TikTok than anywhere else, but do check us out on our YouTube channel. We are trying to grow that a little bit as well. So if you could help us out over there, we would greatly appreciate it. And if you'd like to get some merch, Tony, as always, coming through wearing the merch like none of us do, except for Daddy's cheap sticker that he puts on his hat. But I'm actually wearing a Fallout shirt today because I'm going to be playing some Fallout after this. So head on over to the website, circleofnerds.com/merch. And if you'd like to know what's coming up, you can also check out the timeline in our show description. So that'll let you know which episodes we're going to be watching next. So thank you so much for tuning in this week. A very special thanks to all of our active duty military members and veterans for their support and sacrifice. We cannot thank you enough for that, especially in these trying times. So I know we've got some Marines heading down to the border. So regardless of what you may think about that, that particular police action or whatever we're calling it, just remember that, you know, our people in uniform still are deserving of respect. And so for all of you Marines who are out there on the border, again, doesn't matter what I think about it, about the politics behind it, I hope you're safe. So please stay safe. There are still some dangers out there. So please be safe. So, yeah. All right. Does anybody have anything else before we head on out?
Just bring the popcorn next week. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be something. Mm-hmm. Popcorn in a box of tissue. Yeah. Normally when I say that, it's for the wrong reasons, but this time it's actually for passing eye water. So bring your weakness napkins. We're going to be passing some eye water. Napkins. That's a 30 Rock thing. There's a scene where Alec Baldwin's character is crying because like his mentor passed away, and then Jack Welch was there, and he was like, if you need to pass some eye water, I've got some weakness napkins here for you. It's like, so, but that's all right. Like they said, like the guy said in The Big Lebowski, you know, strong men do cry. Strong men do cry. I cried my ass off. I'm going to cry again. I've seen Umbara many times, and I'm going to cry again. I know I will. So, all right. So that is going to do it for us. Is it like a person, a place, or a thing? You're going to have to watch it. You've never seen it. That's right.
It is a place.
It is a place.
Umbara is a planet.
Got it. It is a place. Right. Oh, and you know what? Interestingly enough, someone, and I don't know if this has been confirmed or not, but someone had mentioned that, and see, this is where I don't know characters anymore again. Skeleton Crew, the bounty hunter in Skeleton Crew, the female bounty hunter, the
oh yeah, she was the voice of Merida in Brave.
Yes, but it's suspected that she is Umbaran.
Ooh,
she looks very similar.
Okay,
she looks very similar to the Umbaran people. So I can't remember her name, but she was smoking, and we need more of her. I personally need more of her in my life. Thank you very much. If there's anyone cosplaying and you have an OnlyFans, please let me know. On that note, no, I'm kidding. I'll never pay for OnlyFans. I am so broke, and there's so much free adult educational content out there. So, I mean, unless you need the money for school or something, or, you know, for baby formula.
We can help them.
We can help them.
We can help get them.
We can help.
Some baby formula.
That's true.
Hey, you know, I don't mind helping single moms put their kids through school. That's fine.
Or themselves.
Mind it either.
Some people are doing it for college. Some people are doing it, you know, why not? Why can't we help some people earn a living?
I'm out of water.
All right, that means it's time to go. All right, so thanks again for joining us, everyone. We really absolutely do appreciate you spending your time with us. We know you can spend your time anywhere, but you choose to spend it with us. So thank you very much to our 15 people, all of our listeners. So thank you. So, and that's going to do it for us. That's a wrap. So next week, live, we'll put some information out on the socials, and probably going to be up on YouTube, and maybe do a secondary live stream on the TikToks, but you won't be able to hear everybody. I'll probably just, unless we do it all individually on our own TikTok accounts. I don't know, but that'll still be kind of weird because you're not going to be able to hear everybody. But anyway, so that'll be it for us. Thanks again for joining us. And remember, as always, if no one does anything nice for you, please, by all means, do something nice to yourself. And we're going to see y'all next week live. Bye.